Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. GDG94, back with another reaction video. Today we're going to react to Kobe versus LeBron, the true king of clutch. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Jordan or LeBron, LeBron or Jordan. A debate that has been waging on at the behest of the fake news media for nearly 20 years and counting. But somewhere along the line, at the tail end of the Jordan era and a few years before the LeBron era got underway, there was this other guy that came along. Yes, of course we're talking about Kobe Bryant, a guy who faced the most difficult competition in NBA history, who had criminally negligent amounts of supporting casts throughout major stretches of his career, and yet still managed to find his way to 5 NBA championships.
Facts.
And while there have been varying debates for years between the camps behind Jordan and LeBron, the Kobe-LeBron discourse has trailed off in recent years. But one thing that was pretty much universally accepted, even by people taking LeBron over Kobe, is that Kobe was that guy when it mattered most.
Facts.
That when your life was on the line in do or die moments, there was no one, maybe ever, that you would rather have taking the shot than the Black Mamba. Of course, we're talking about this premise of clutch, having proverbial ice water in the veins, the alleged killer mentality. But in recent years, in the never-ending quest to prop LeBron James's legacy up, there has been a massive push on mass media outlets, which has produced a trickle-down effect to every teenager with a social media account to spam us with the reasons as to why LeBron James is the most clutch player in NBA history.
That's a motherfucking lie. I'm laughing with y'all.
As a result, Kobe Bryant has been catching strays as of late, and the conversation has been shifting as to why he himself was not clutch, but instead was just a volume-scoring shot chucker. As always, the truth is in the numbers and the context. So let's dig in and see what the actual truth is.
Okay.
And to get to the bottom of this, we need to dial in and define clutch time. For purposes of this conversation, let us begin with the last 5 minutes of a game, regulation or overtime, with their teams in a game where the margin is 5 points or less, either ahead or trailing. We are going to further shift the focus to the games that mattered most, the playoffs.
Playoffs?
This will be no small sample size, as LeBron James has played in the most playoff games in NBA history, logging 282 and counting, while Kobe Bryant played in the 7th most playoff games ever with 220. And in these situations, a playoff game within a 5-point margin in the last 5 minutes, Kobe and LeBron are pretty identical. LeBron James has a 90-50 team win-loss record in those situations, shooting 143 of 353 from the field, which is good for about 40.5%, while he is 162 of 213 from the free throw line during those clutch situations. Kobe, on the other hand, produced a 69-43 team win-loss record in these games while shooting 107 of 270 in clutch time, good for roughly 39.5%, while he was 149 of 179 from the free throw line during that time. As I said, there is not much separation here, but LeBron actually produced a better team win-loss record while shooting slightly higher percentage from the field and predictably a good amount worse at the free throw line. Nonetheless, what is going on here? Is LeBron clutch?
What?
And is he as clutch or more so than Kobe Bryant? Not so fast. Last 5 minutes within 5 points? Let's ratchet this down a bit more, make it a bit tighter with less time. We are now going to examine the final 2 minutes of their playoff career with their team in a one-score game that's up or down by 3 points or less. And this is where we can start to see things shifting. In these situations, LeBron James has a record of 58-38, which is still good for about 60% win percentage. But he gets worse in these situations, shooting just 49 of 127 from the field, which drops down to about 38.5%, while his free throw shooting at 56 of 76 for about 73% also drops. By contrast, Kobe actually gets better in these situations, as his team record in these games was 51 and 30, good for 64%, while he shot 40 of 94 in these moments, which is good for about 42.5%, and his free throws also rose to nearly 85% on 67 of 79.
Damn.
All of these numbers not only best LeBron, but Kobe gets better when the games get tighter and later, while LeBron gets worse. But listen, these numbers aren't terrible for LeBron, and no one is refuting ultimately that LeBron is a historically great player who has amassed a storied resume, which does include some degree of success in the playoffs throughout his career. Just primarily that he is a complete choke artist when it really mattered most, while other players, such as Kobe Bryant, distanced themselves from him in those moments. And when you add these moments up, those are the things that elevate others over LeBron. These are the moments that invalidate LeBron from the upper hierarchy of discussions, like that GOAT debate. It is, of course, LeBron's finals struggles that has depreciated his legacy for years. Because, yeah, it matters. And looking at these two players' performances in clutch time during their vast finals resume, it is clear who the clutchest player is. In the NBA Finals round, in the final 2 minutes of one-possession games, Kobe Bryant in his career shot 10 of 20, good for 50% from the field, while making 5 of his 6 free throws. While his team went 11 and 5 in those games, a win percentage of 69%. Again, the tighter and closer the games are, with the highest stakes, is when Kobe was at his best. In stark and alarming contrast, LeBron James falls off of a cliff in these situations. He has shot just 8 of 29 through his career in the finals during these clutch times.
Damn.
That's just 27.5%, while making 12 of his 16 free throws. And his team in these games went just 10 and 11, 47% win percentage. So while Kobe is shooting 50% from the field in these moments and winning nearly 70% of his games, LeBron James was shooting 27% and losing over half of those games. And this is exactly why Kobe was known as the most clutch player of his era for years.
Facts.
In fact, beginning in 2002, the NBA started conducting an anonymous GM survey. And in this annual survey, every general manager in the NBA was asked several questions, one of which was the player you want taking a shot with the game on the line. This survey was conducted every year for the last 20 seasons. And from the first year it was conducted in 2002 and running all the way through 2012, Kobe Bryant was the answer. 10 straight years. NBA general managers concluded Kobe Bryant was the clutchest player.
Yeah, because he was destroying their teams, putting 40 on their fucking
until he
head.
ruptured his Achilles and unofficially ended his career. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant have gone back and forth, each being voted the clutchest 5 times apiece, while Damian Lillard was selected 1 year. No player has more than 3 straight. Kobe had 10 consecutive. Not only that, look at these last 6 years. No player got more than 55% of the vote. Now, direct your attention to Kobe's prime, while LeBron was winning multiple league MVPs, and yet 90% of the general managers were saying Kobe was the clutchest player. How in the world has this even become a conversation in recent years? But I know what you're thinking. Kobe was playing easier competition. For his career, no one faced more 50-plus win teams than Kobe Bryant. In all, Bryant played 37 50-plus win opponents in his playoff career. Of the 43 series he played in, that is good for 86% of his total opponents. Comparatively, LeBron James has faced 27 such teams of his 51 opponents, or roughly only 53% of the time. Accordingly, no one has beaten more 50-plus win opponents in the playoffs than Kobe Bryant's 26. But for purposes of this conversation, what kind of defenses they faced really matter the most. And again, this isn't close. Looking at LeBron's 10 finals trips versus Kobe's 7. LeBron played a top 5 defense 15 times out of the 40 series he played in those postseasons, which is roughly 38% of the time. He faced a top 10 defense in year-end net defensive rating metrics 22 times, or roughly in 55% of his series. By comparison, Kobe Bryant faced a top 5 defense in 14 of the 28 series he played in his 7 finals runs. So 50% of the time he was playing against a top 5 defense, and 22 of the 28 series were against a top 10 defense in year-end ratings, or roughly 80% of his opponents. Not only were the defenses Kobe faced ranked higher compared to the other defenses in his requisite era than the ones LeBron faced, but they also just allowed fewer points than the defenses did in the majority of LeBron's deep playoff runs. Average points per game allowed by defenses faced by Kobe in his 7 finals runs was 94.4 points per game, while the average defenses LeBron faced in his 10 finals runs gave up, on average, 99.6 points per game.
Damn.
Yeah, but Kobe was carried half of his playoff series. Okay, let's take a look at Kobe's worst title run in his aged 21 season, when he and Shaq won the championship in the 1999-2000 season. For the playoffs that year, in the final 2 minutes of one-possession games, Kobe Bryant led the Lakers substantially in these clutch moments. In 8 games during that playoff run, the Lakers found themselves in these tight games, and they produced a 7-1 record. In the final 2 minutes of those one-score games, Shaquille O'Neal scored 2 points, going 0 of 2 from the field and 2 of 4 from the free throw line. No Lakers player in that postseason had more than 4 points in those situations, aside from Kobe Bryant, who led the Lakers with 19 points in these situations, shooting 6 of 9 from the field and 7 of 8 from the free throw line.
Damn.
In a playoff run where Kobe is viewed as an afterthought. Now, for comparison, let's examine LeBron's greatest playoff run ever. Kobe's worst versus LeBron's best. The 2015-2016 NBA playoffs, where he single-handedly carried the Cavaliers to a championship and defeated the unbeatable 73-9 Warriors. You know, the playoff run that made LeBron the GOAT in his own delusional mind.
That one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, in that postseason, 31-year-old prime LeBron James scored 5 points on 2 of 9 shooting in clutch time during the final 2 minutes of a game within one possession, while Kyrie Irving led the Cavaliers in clutch time scoring with 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting in those situations. I mean, who carried who? Kobe Bryant, at 21 years old, was vastly more clutch than LeBron James ever was. What I'm saying is, there's levels to this. Kobe was more clutch against much stiffer defensive opposition, and regardless of what teammates he had surrounding him. When comparing LeBron to Kobe as it pertains to killer mindset and closing ability, keep Kobe's name out of your mouths. Was always the most clutch player of his era, and substantially more clutch than the likes of LeBron James. In fact, if we are talking all-time clutch players, Kobe has very few equals, and that is why those people who actually watched his entire career rank him so highly. Because
Facts.
at the end of the day, those are the times and those are the moments that really matter. Many thanks for tuning in as always, and if you have not subscribed yet, what are you doing?
Nah, like real talk though. You have to watch. That's the thing I don't like about this new generation of fucking basketball fans. Y'all watch the highlights and then look at the numbers. You don't watch the full game. You don't see the context. You don't see the context behind why Kobe probably had a bad night, or why Steph or Michael Jordan or Kevin Durant had a bad night in the fourth quarter. You might not have context behind that. You just look at the highlights and the stats and go, see, man, he ain't fucking with LeBron. LeBron would have did better than that. Look at LeBron. Do y'all really watch the games, or do y'all just watch the highlights? I watch the games. I see what the fuck going on, man. You know what I'm saying? How can you evaluate a player and you don't even watch the games? You watching the highlights. That's not watching the game. You're watching the highlights, meaning you're watching them make the shots. You're not watching how the defense makes the miss and how they adjust and you need context. There has to be context. You cannot just use numbers. You have to put context, which is why you have to see it in order to understand it. There's a reason why Kobe is ahead of LeBron in so many fucking categories, including if we put him on a GOAT list, he's still ahead of LeBron. There's levels to this, bro. Stop looking at the highlights and the stats and going, yeah, Kobe better. No, LeBron better. No, don't work like that, bro. Look at the game. Watch the game in its entirety. See how this man adjusted. See how this man started off. See how the defense started closing in on him. See how he adjusted to the defense, and see how he made the defense have to play to his standards in order to keep up with him. You know what I'm saying? Watch the game. That's how you learn. That's why most of y'all niggas don't even know how to play basketball, bro. Y'all niggas be on 2K, just give me the ball and then just run up and shoot a three like you Steph or something. Watching highlights and shit, not watching the games. Dumbass boy. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. Kobe's clutch. LeBron ain't shit. I'm sticking to that. Bye.